AITA for asking my boyfriend if he has feelings for his female best friend? Hi, I, 23F, have been dating my boyfriend, 24M, for 3 years now. I don't want to use real names, so we'll call him James. This is going to be a long post, so I apologize in advance. James and I met our junior year of university through some mutual friends, and he is someone who has become an integral part of my life. I love him more than I can even begin to describe. He is the first man I've ever met that sees me for who I am, understands me, shows that he cares and loves me. We have the same sense of humor and interests, and I've never met someone who I get along with so easily. Overall, he is just so important to me, and since the beginning, I knew he's someone that I could see myself marrying and building a life with. Which is why this issue I am having is genuinely disturbing me and why I am coming on here to ask for any advice or input. For context, James has many male and female friends, as do I. I know some relationships don't tolerate their S/O having opposite gender friends, but this was never something that we followed. Our friend groups are quite big in this sense. Personally, I have some male friends that I have been friends with for a while, and he has one specifically. We'll call her Amelia, 23M. Amelia and James have been friends since they were both 15. And from what I know, when they first met they had feelings for one another, but, according to both of them, the feelings fizzled out quickly as their friendship strengthened. I know this to be true because James went on to date some other girls throughout high school and beginning of university afterwards. And Amelia dated 1 or 2 people, but remained single from what I have been told. Anyways, they are very close friends who really care for each other too, considering how long they have known each other. Before we started dating, I heard from some mutual friends that people always accused them of being a thing because of how often they hung out, also because they lived together the first 2 years of university. When I first met James, he was open with me about how him and her used to have feelings for each other when they were 15, and he reassured me that they do not anymore. And that even though him and Amelia are close friends, he doesn't want me to be uncomfortable with their friendship and to let him know if I have any questions or anything. At first, I was a little uneasy about it because I rarely know of a girl and a guy being as close as they are without feelings involved. I have close male friends, but I wouldn't say we are as close as they two are. But when I met Amelia, I felt a lot more confident that they had a solid friendship with no feelings just from the way they interacted. After we started dating, they stopped hanging out as frequently, and I could tell that Amelia really respected our relationship and supported us. Amelia herself is a very sweet person too, beautiful and incredibly smart. In the past, the female friends of my ex-boyfriend have often shunned me or excluded me, but Amelia never did anything like that. She actually became someone I consider a friend. More about her, although very attractive and nice, she has remained single. This is important. James would sometimes tease her about this, as well as some of the other friends in their friend group, saying things like she gets no play, etc. And she always took it with grace, laugh along, and would also say that she doesn't need a relationship and would rather focus on herself at this time in her life. And that is how it's been for the past 3 years. We've all graduated by now and some of our other friends have moved away, but Amelia, James, and I still live in the same city. Now onto my dilemma and where I may have messed up. For the first time since I met Amelia, she started dating someone and is now in a relationship with a guy, we'll call him Logan, 25M. She told us about 2 months ago. This sort of came out of the blue, but she told both James and I that she didn't really want to tell anyone about it because she was nervous since this is her first actual relationship. I was really happy for her and excited too, and I noticed James seemed a bit off when she told us, but he still said that he was happy for her. And ever since then, whenever Logan is brought up or if I talk about it, he just dismisses it as if he doesn't want to hear anything about it. At first, I thought maybe he knew something about this Logan that I didn't and didn't like him. Or maybe he just actually didn't care for it. But I felt in my gut that something was weird, and it just really bothered me that he seemed so affected by it. Last Friday, one of our mutual friends was hosting a dinner, and when I texted Amelia what she was wearing, she told me she wasn't going because she didn't feel well. I told James this and he looked confused and then somewhat annoyed for a second, and then said whatever and that we'll see her some other time. That entire Friday night, I could not stop thinking about his reaction, and even more so, at the dinner, James was drinking a lot more heavily than he usually does. For a few days after, I did not hear from Amelia or hear about her from James. And on Thursday night, I did something that I have never done before, and I went through James' phone. I don't know why, and I feel guilty for invading his privacy, but something in me compelled me to do so. And what I found was a full-blown argument between James and Amelia. Apparently, James had been ignoring her and being off, which I too noticed, and she confronted him about it. He ended up telling her that he was upset he didn't know about her having feelings for Logan, and that he doesn't think she should be dating a guy he's barely met. Amelia was, obviously, upset at this response and said something like, "What's it to you? Why does me dating someone bother you so much?" And to that, James got even more upset and was saying things like, "Does my opinion not matter to you?" And this guy isn't good for you. Mind you, he has never met Logan. And it went on like that before Amelia told him fuck you and he left her on read. I don't remember what every text was, but all in all, it seemed to be rooted out of this weird possessiveness. I can't even begin to describe how sick I felt reading the messages because it really bothered me how possessive he was over her. It was genuinely the first time I have ever felt such an uncomfortable and disturbing feeling, and I feel it now remembering the messages. And to be honest, this is not the first time I've seen him act this way towards her. In university, I think it's common for guy friends to watch out for their female friends whenever at a party or a club. But I always noticed how he would do so with her, like putting his hands around her to move her out the way or simply staying near her when guys came up to her and just being very protective. And this was often enough that some of my girlfriends commented on it, saying that it was weird of him to do, which I just brushed off, saying he was looking out for her. And even more, I kept thinking about the way he talks about her, saying she's the most peculiar girl he's ever met, or the way I sometimes caught him looking at her as if she painted the stars themselves. Back then, it was never to the point where like I could genuinely accuse him of something. But it was enough for me to notice. Until now that I read actual proof that he seems to be emotional about her than I ever thought. And so yesterday, I told him we needed to talk about Amelia and he seemed taken aback and confused, but he agreed. I sat him down and I told him everything I noticed, how weird he acted when she told us she was in a relationship, how off he has been, and I also told him that I saw the messages and that it was very upsetting and bothersome to see him act that way over another girl. And I ended up asking him if he had feelings for Amelia. To this, he got very upset at me. First, for going through his phone, which I understand completely. And second, for accusing him of such a thing, and he said something like, if I had feelings for her, don't you think I would have been already dating her by now? But I just felt in my gut that he just was not being completely honest with me, because I knew her being in a relationship bothered him, and I asked him, why didn't you tell me about this? To which he said that their friendship is not my business. Things escalated and we went back and forth for a while because the way he treats her, the ways he acts when it comes to her, is not the normal way a guy treats a girlfriend. I ended up saying at one point, so if Amelia told you she had feelings for you right now, what would you do? And I think that was his breaking point, and told me that he didn't think I was this insecure to accuse him of loving anyone else, and ended up walking out of our apartment saying that he needed to clear his mind. He texted me later on saying that he was going to stay with a friend for the weekend, that he felt upset and betrayed and needed this time for himself, and that we need to talk about our relationship more in depth on Monday. I'm very anxious and have not been able to stop crying about this situation. I feel a lot of guilt for invading his privacy, but I also can't shake how sick I feel thinking about how upset he was with her for getting into a relationship and also just reassessing the way he's always acted with her. I know he loves me, he has shown it to me in a million different ways, and he always been a man that shows and tells me the things he feels. I am really starting to wonder if I just am insecure and overthinking. Or if I was right in my decision of calling him out and feeling like something was up. I know that he liked her when he was 15, and I know that was so long ago, and that they did technically have all that time before me to date or anything, but didn't, so that must mean something. But I also know that their friendship is unlike most, that he cares and loves her a lot, and I'm afraid that it is more than just a platonic love. So, AITA for asking if he has feelings for her? Any advice or input for those who have been in similar situations, whether my place or James' place, will be super helpful. And if you read this entire thing, thank you so much, and I appreciate any advice I can get. Edit. I didn't realize people make a whole new post to update instead of coming back and editing the OG post, which I already did, so I'm posting the update right now. Update. Hey guys, sorry for the late update. I didn't realize people made new posts for updates, and I ended up just editing my OG post, only to realize that I should instead make a new update post. Anyways, a lot has happened and the original post got quite a few comments, so I feel like I owe it to you guys. I really appreciate everything that you guys commented as well, and I took it into account for what I'm about to update you guys with. I also want to say this before I update. Some of you said to contact Amelia about this, and I thought about it and decided I do not want to. I don't want to drag her into this when she's ultimately done nothing wrong. She's always made it clear to me that she is just a friend, and I've never seen her cross a line with James nor any of our other mutual male friends. She's in a happy relationship, and I just don't want to cause any issues with them. With that said, here's what else has happened. I wrote that post on Saturday, and I fully expected not to hear from James by Monday. But apparently the friend James was staying with didn't know why he was even there, only that James wanted a place to stay. And when James told him the situation, he did what many of you commented on and told him he should be reassuring me rather than running away. I guess this knocked some sense into James, because Saturday night, he came back home and told me that he doesn't want to run away from us. But he said he needed a day or two to gather some of his thoughts. I was so tired and exhausted, and I know this wasn't the best thing to do, but I accepted it and told him I'd wait. Looking back on it, I should have just sat him down there and continued the conversation. But he kept telling me that he loves me and no one else and that he just needs to clear his mind, and again I didn't push it. Sunday was Easter and I went to go visit my sister and her husband. I did not bring James along. He had some other plans he was originally going to go to regardless, and after everything that went down, I didn't really want to hang out with him. While I was there, I told both of them the situation with James. My sister had the same reaction as many of you guys did, that James probably has feelings for her and that he was an asshole for leaving me in the dust instead of comforting me. Her husband, we'll call him Dean, 28M, though told me that he doesn't think James feels anything for Amelia but rather is more protective over her. But my sister shot that down, saying if it was a protective older brother type thing, then it would be more obvious. She told me I should grill him more about it and Dean agreed with that too. To say the least, my conversation with both of them only left me with more questions of whether I was overthinking this or if I was in the right. Anyways, later Sunday night, I got home to see James waiting for me and I could just tell he was ready to speak. We sat down and he ended up apologizing first and foremost. He felt stupid for the way he originally reacted and said that he only walked out because he was upset that I accused him of having feelings for her. He told me that in the past, his past GFS or just girls he would be talking to would always accuse him of liking Amelia because they are friends. And I guess it just triggers him to hear that. I replied to him and told him, well, obviously you have to be acting a certain way with her to make the person you're with feel that way. And that made him go quiet and I really just let him have it at that point. I told him that I've never had an issue with her in the past and it isn't even about her or their friendship. I'm completely fine with my S/O having opposite gender friends. It's about the way he treats her. I told him how those texts I saw were more reactive and possessive than a regular guy friend would be over a girl, that I guess the way their friendship is very unlike most regular female and male friendships in regards to how close they are. To this, he got defensive and said that he doesn't feel any possession over her, that he just wants to look out for her because he cares for her. We kind of went back and forth for a while and I then asked him the question that I last asked before he stormed out, which was, so if Amelia told you she had feelings for you right now, what would you do? And he kind of just looked at me, mouth wide open and struggling to form a response. I think it was at this point that I started to cry. Reality kind of just settled in because his lack of response or inability to immediately do so told me that he was unsure, that he had doubts. I think that if he was truly secure in our relationship, he would have immediately told me that he would reject her or unbefriend her or something. When he saw me crying, he panicked and was telling me it wasn't like that he loves only me, etc., that he couldn't ever view Amelia that way because they have been longtime friends. And I think that flipped a switch in me and I told him, so if you and Amelia met now, if you weren't such solid friends, would you love her? And I think that question truly made him falter. My mother always told me that no answer is an answer, and that was a moment where that rang incredibly true. And God, I can't even describe how badly it hurt. To see the man you love most in this world falter about your relationship. I've never been someone who crashes out or blows up about things. I've always been reserved and accepting of situations and realities, even if it hurts. But I think that was the first time in my life where I wanted to just explode on him, let my anger out. But I didn't, and I'm glad that I didn't, because even then I don't think he deserves that sort of reaction out of me. I don't remember much of our conversation afterwards. I was practically sobbing at that point. But I know I ended up telling him that he needs some reflecting to do about the things he truly feels, even if it scares him. Because if he doesn't, he's just going to end up hurting more people. And then I broke up with him, telling him I think it's best if we separate for both our sakes. I hate to say it, but a part of me hoped he would fight back and reject me, and my heart broke even more when he just accepted what I said. I have never seen such an expression on his face either. He looked like I had just rocked his world in the most horrible way. It hurt so fucking badly, God, I still feel the ache within me right now thinking about it. I ended up going to my sister's, crying the entire way there. And I'm going to stay with her until I can find a new place. The lease James and I have ends mid-July, so I have time, and James ended up texting me that he's going to stay with his own parents instead of home so that I don't feel uncomfortable. And he sent me a long paragraph about how much he loves me, how he'll always be here for me no matter what, how he hates himself for making me cry and yada yada. I didn't respond and I'm not going to. I don't doubt James loves me, I just think he loves Amelia more and is afraid of it. It is pathetic really. I think he's the only who is truly so insecure with himself and the things he feels. And it's really just sad and pathetic to see. I hope that he realizes his own feelings for Amelia and honestly that he finds a way to move past them, for his own sake and for his future lover's sake. I don't wish this type of pain I feel on anyone. Anyways, it's not that exciting of an update and it is really what most of you probably expected. I know I will be okay, I'm young, and there is much of my life to live out, but I won't lie and say that it doesn't hurt because it really does. It will just take time to move on from, I guess. As I've said, I won't be telling Amelia about any of this, and I haven't told any of our mutual friends about our breakup yet. Anyways, I will update you guys again if anything else happens that is crazy enough to mention, and I will also take this time to reply to some comments. Thank you for hearing me out, I really appreciate it.